Great. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Awaken to Happiness Now Global Series. Thank you so much for being here with us today. If you're new to me, shefaliburns, new to my show, the Awaken to Happiness Now Global Series. Again, thank you, thank you. Welcome, welcome. If you're watching on the replay, please do subscribe so you can continue to take advantage of all the current shows, all the previous shows, all the shows coming up on YouTube. There's over 550 something, so there's a lot of wisdom, healing, teachings, etc. there for you. It is my deepest wish, desire, and intention to bring to you these amazing speakers who are sharing their wisdom, their teachings, their experiences, their processes, their healings, etc., so that we can all thrive, so that we can all awaken to happiness now. And today, my dear friend Patrick Prohaska is back with us, and we're going to be talking about embracing your divine mission and changing the world. So some of what we're going to talk about is we're going to get clarity on your divine purpose, mission, and vocation. We're going to talk about enriching your life immediately with impactful actions and mindsets that express with your divine mission. Embody your divine purpose so you can have a meaningful impact on the world. Learn how to manage setbacks, lack of enthusiasm or motivation, and pushback from others with grace and ease. Understand the difference between change through external force and transformation through internal power. Recognize the thoughts and beliefs that block you from embracing your mission. So this is going to be such a powerful conversation. And Patrick's also going to be taking some live caller questions, and he'll be doing live processes to assist us in embracing our divine mission and changing the world. So for those of you who may not know Patrick, he's been with us many times. We love having him on the show. Always high vibe, always wonderful processes and conversations for sure. Patrick is an author and life coach specializing in personal empowerment, consciousness expansion, and sexual healing. Patrick has a bachelor's degree in philosophy of science and a master's degree in the religions of ancient India and developed the Lightbridge system of healing and personal transformation. He's the author of Brain Cells, Escape Your Mental Prisons, and Dream Yourself Awake, The Power of Lucid Living, as well as the forthcoming book, Myths to Stop Living By. Patrick is available for lectures, seminars, and workshops around the globe. And when he's not teaching or communing with a client, you'll find him exploring the Colorado wilderness. So everyone, please join me in welcoming Patrick back to the show. Patrick, welcome.
Thank you. It's always a joy to be with you, and it doesn't happen nearly often enough. So
That is true. That is true. And I was going to ask you, are you still in Colorado or have you moved?
I'm still in Colorado. I'm in Colorado Springs, and in fact, the background behind me there, that's Pikes Peak. That's the view that I see through the window right now. So
Beautiful.
I'm in a
Beautiful.
good place.
Nice. I love it. That's beautiful. So, Patrick, today we're talking about embracing your divine mission and changing the world, right? And so I know this is a big topic for a lot of people, and it's a big topic to go into in the first place, because sometimes I think people get confused around divine purpose, mission, vocation, calling, etc., right? Because those words, we use them all interchangeably, but I think they mean slightly different things, right?
They do. Yes, they all mean completely different things, but they're all interrelated. And the definitions that I use are not necessarily the definitions that I feel everyone everywhere should use. But for me, when I'm talking about my purpose, what I'm thinking about is what I myself am specifically here to experience. And my mission is what I'm here to help other people experience. And my vocation is whatever activity I do in order to accomplish the mission.
Hmm.
So for me personally, and there are lots of different purposes, people might have different missions and so forth. But for me personally, I feel like my purpose in this lifetime is to learn how to experience joy on a consistent and regular basis. And therefore, my mission's kind of linked to my purpose. My mission is to help other people experience joy as well. And my vocation is Lightbridge. That's what I do in order to help people experience joy. Before I got into doing energy healing and so forth, my vocation was in the restaurant industry. And that's a completely different way to help people experience joy. It's a different kind of joy. It's kind of an ephemeral, temporary, in the moment kind of joy. And what I'm working on now is helping people experience lasting, long term, permanent joy. But it's all the same thing. It's all the joy that's my vocation. So, in my mind, it doesn't really matter what vocation you're doing as long as it is in alignment with what your purpose and your mission are, whatever you choose that to be for yourself. So, I don't know, did that help clarify or did that make things more muddy?
No, that was such an awesome explanation. I love it. And for me, that gave me clarity too, right? So,
Hmm.
because in this way I can look at my purpose, what I think my purpose is, and then my mission and my vocation of, for example, the show, right? The Awaken Happiness Now show is my vocation, right? So it's like it totally makes sense. I love it. So for those of you who may have had questions about or been confused about what is the difference, like what's my purpose, what's my mission, what's my vocation, this was a great explanation. I loved it. Just so
Thank you.
clear. So
Mhm.
thank you.
But it does get muddied in people's minds because I think one of the major blockages to figuring out what your purpose is a set of belief systems that a lot of people have that are along the lines of this life is a punishment. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm an outsider. I'm a stranger. I don't fit in. I don't know how to function here. Um, this is a mistake. I wasn't supposed to be born here. I should have finished all my lifetimes a long time ago and I should be someplace else. But I think the biggest blockage that really slows people down is the belief that this lifetime is somehow a mistake or a
Mhm.
punishment of some sort. And a lot of people have that belief system. In my mind, it's possible that you're here in order to, among other things, experience certain challenges in order to grow. But that's not the same thing as this life being a punishment or a
Yeah.
burden or something that's been thrust upon you against your will. I think even if your life is challenging and there are painful things that you need to overcome or endure in this lifetime, that there's a part of you, if not your higher self, that actually chose to be here and have these experiences for whatever reason, whether it's to learn or to see things from a different perspective or to simply have a human experience and so forth. So there are lots of reasons why you might be here. But if you are of the mindset that your life here is a punishment or your life here is a mistake, then really your ultimate goal is to escape this lifetime. And therefore, if your whole goal is to escape, you're not really going to accomplish much. Life isn't going to be fulfilling. You're not going to accomplish your mission if you have one. And if you don't accomplish your mission, you're just going to have to come back and do it again. So I think it's really limiting to start with the assumption that this lifetime is a punishment or a mistake. Now, in terms of whatever your mission is or your purpose, most of you have an idea of what that probably is already, even without somebody telling you or you exploring it. And often it's connected to whatever your biggest challenge is. I grew up in an environment in which joy and happiness were incredibly rare. And if I ever experienced a moment of joy, somebody else in my family would try to take it away from me. There was this very heavy energy of crushed dreams in when I was growing up. And what I learned over time was that I needed to put on a mask. I needed to pretend to not really be as happy as I was. I needed to pretend to have a lot of complaints and challenges and so forth. Because if I were happy, other people would try to slap the smile off my face. And that included my mom, my brothers, my sister. There are very few people who just supported me being happy. And that was a major challenge for me. That was what gave me the awareness that my purpose here is to learn how to embrace happiness, embrace joy, no matter what other people are trying to do to slow it down, and to help other people experience that as well. Yeah. So, what do you think? What's your purpose?
Well, for me, I think my purpose is to love and be loved, but also trust, right? So there's a lot of stuff that's going on in my life, and it's around that, right?
Hmm.
To love myself, love others, and allow myself to receive love, right? And trust in the universe, in the plan, in all that kind of stuff. So I think part of for me, part of that is part of my mission. And at the same time, I mean, the purpose and part of that mission is to empower others to also experience that in some way. And then the vocation is through this show or coaching or healing, etc. Right?
Hmm.
That's what I that's my
Awesome. And
understanding
you're doing a
anyways.
good job. Yeah, you're really, really working that. Awesome.
Yeah, and so and that's what sometimes it's about us getting out of our own way, trusting the process, and um following those intuitive hits, right? And those intuitive hits really are basically signs, messages, guidance from your higher self to say, let's do this because this is more on purpose with what you came to do, kind of
Hmm.
thing, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So developing your intuition is actually very, very crucial. And most of us have kind of shut down our intuition because intuition can be very, very painful. If you are developing your intuition, it becomes really clear when people are lying to you. It becomes really clear when somebody doesn't really like you, but they're pretending to like you. It's obvious when somebody is putting on a fake front or a smile, and then the instant you walk out of the room, they say something nasty about you. You know all of that when you develop your intuition, and that is really painful. And therefore, a lot of people shut down their intuition in order to avoid that kind of pain. But when you shut down your intuition, it becomes harder to see the world for what it is. Everything gets muddied, everything gets clouded, and it becomes more difficult to figure out why you're even here and what you're supposed to do. I think sometimes the feeling that this lifetime is a punishment is actually the result of having really well developed intuition, but not having been taught how to use it and what some of the pitfalls are. Because if you're a child and you you can just sense that your mother or your father doesn't want you to be there, that you're a burden, that you were never wanted in the first place. And you can feel that even though they're taking care of you, that can be a very painful thing that can translate into the feeling that my life is a mistake. I'm not supposed to be here. This is a punishment of some sort. And if you develop your intuition later, a lot of people go through this burst of intuition development around the ages of 6, 7, and 8, and then they shut it down again later. But if you're 7 years old and you can suddenly start feeling what your teachers really think of you and what your friends on the playground really think of you and so forth, you can internalize all that negativity from other people and feel like you're not supposed to be here. So one of the things I really try to help people with is feeling comfortable in your own skin and developing a very solid understanding that your life has purpose, you have meaning, you add meaning to the world simply by existing, and you can actually create massive change in the world if you come into alignment with that internal sense of purpose. So there's a lot of healing that needs to be done. There's a lot of trauma that needs to be cleared. And it's like this catch 22. It's really weird because if you go through life with no intuition and very little empathy, then you can have a very successful life because you don't really care about other people. You don't care what people think about you. You don't feel the feelings of other people. You don't feel the pain of others. And therefore, you can focus on getting stuff done. And that's the way a lot of people live their life. But those lives often end up being meaningless or not really making a change in the world that's a benefit for everyone. But on the other hand, if you have really well developed empathy and really well developed intuition, that can overwhelm you and cause you to shut down and stop functioning. So there's uh, there's often this um, program that you need to go through in order to clear away just enough trauma to let your intuition really shine. So is that making sense?
Absolutely. And part of
Yeah.
that, being intuitive and tapping into your intuition, tapping into your empathy, it's also about um, being able to be present and accepting that you're here,
Yeah.
right? So, and if we have the mindset of we chose to be here, right? We came here for a reason. We chose to be here. We chose our parents. We chose where we were going to be born, etc. Then it makes it a little bit easier when we have struggles. Like, okay, there's something here I'm supposed to be learning because I chose to be here, instead of feeling like a victim and not
Hmm.
in control, right? I know
Yes.
somebody posted in the put it in the comments about there seems to be an ongoing debate of free will versus pre-contact belief, pre-contract belief. So I think there's both, right? So I think, the pre-contract belief, oh, I can't even say it. We do have these choices that we make, but in the moment as well, we still have a little bit of free will. I can choose to do this or I can choose to do that. But if I really go deep down this rabbit hole, um, I have found we actually have no control whatsoever. It's all been
Yeah.
done
Hmm.
by our higher selves, our soul, etc. We personally have no control. So um, I do sometimes remember that, and it's like, oh crap.
Yeah.
But it's like everything has already started. Like it's a chemical and electrical change that occurs even before we make a decision to do something. So
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
a whole other topic.
Well, I do think it's actually very important, though, and I'm glad you touched upon it because it is true from one perspective that you create your experience in the world. You create your experience of the world at all times through your thoughts, your beliefs, your judgments, your expectations, and so forth. And therefore, if you can take control of your thoughts and your beliefs and eliminate the belief systems that limit you and embrace positive thoughts wherever you can without trying to deny yourself the negative side as well, then you can really create something powerful and fulfilling for yourself in the world. But the subconscious mind has programmed into it all sorts of beliefs and expectations and judgments that you're completely unaware of most of the time. So, as you're going through your day to day life on autopilot, you always have those little voices in the back of your head saying, you're not good enough. It's not worth the effort. Sure, this seems good, but you're probably going to fail in the end. All these little voices that tell you things that limit you. And the fact of the matter is this: if you don't make a conscious decision about what to pour your energy into, your subconscious mind is going to choose for you. So in a sense, if you're in the mode of letting your subconscious mind choose for you at all times, there's no free will whatsoever. All of that is pre-programmed. All of that programming that says you're not good enough or you're not smart enough or whatever, all of that will dominate your life. So in that sense, there's very little free will. A decision that comes along, you have an opportunity, you choose to avoid the opportunity because of those little voices in the back of your head. It feels like there's no free will. But there is a certain amount of power that you can tap into when you take control of your thoughts, beliefs, judgments, and expectations. And sometimes that requires a lot of digging, a lot of healing, a lot of trauma clearing, and so forth, because a lot of our belief systems and reactions are triggered unconsciously by things around us. When you are triggered into an emotional reaction by something, what you're having is an experience of being overwhelmed by pre-existing conditions. There's no free will in that moment. But you can take control of your thoughts and beliefs. So that I know we're going down like this pathway, but I do think it's really important um, for this very reason. I just want everyone to understand that even if you feel like your life is a burden or a challenge, you have more power than you've ever given yourself credit for. You are more special than you've ever allowed yourself to understand. And you have access to power at all times. In fact, everything that you're creating in your life right now is an expression of your power. So you are a force of nature. And you could either be a force of nature running on autopilot, or you can be a force of nature that has conscious control over what you're creating. So it's up to you to choose which pathway you end up going down.
Absolutely. And when we are consciously choosing and focusing on those positive aspects and having that growth mindset, those are um I'm going to say the impactful actions and mindsets that we can express our divine mission through, right?
Yes, absolutely. And, we're talking about divine purpose, divine mission, and so forth. We never want that to degenerate into toxic positivity or spiritual bypassing. You are absolutely right that it's crucial to pour energy into positive expectations and positive emotions, but that doesn't mean that you pretend like the negative doesn't exist, because whenever you're pretending something doesn't exist, you're actually just regressing or repressing it, shoving it down, and it doesn't go away. It builds up inside you, and it seeps out in moments that are inconvenient for you. So the goal here isn't to feel nothing but joy 100% of the time, always and forever. If you felt joy 100% of the time, always and forever, chances are you'd get used to it and it would become meaningless after a while. We live in a world of polarity, and we need to realize that our challenges and our negative experiences give us energy and compel us to make changes in the world. And that's like the main point that I want to make today. We are at this crucial junction in human history in which we have an opportunity for massive evolution right now. And you can either choose to curl up in a ball and do nothing and let things unfold as they will, or you can step in and help shape the future using your awareness of spiritual principles and so forth. So we're growing into this age in which we all have deeper access to higher dimensional gifts and skills. We are all growing in consciousness, expanding our consciousness, and becoming aware of the multidimensional nature of the universe. And when you have an experience of the multidimensional nature of the universe, you realize that you interpenetrate, you intersect with other people. You are not this individual that is distinct and separate from everybody else, which is what the ego says you are. You interpenetrate with all people everywhere, and you have access to certain tools that allow you to shape the world as you see fit. And those tools, as I mentioned before, are your thoughts, your beliefs, your judgments, your expectations, whatever you pour energy into. That's what you create in the world around you. But the reason we're at this crucial juncture is there are lots and lots of people who are still deeply invested in the three-dimensional way of doing things. And the three-dimensional way of doing things involves subject-object distinctions, putting people in their boxes, the hierarchies, the us versus them thinking, the belief that in order for you to have more, there's less left over for me, or in order for me to have more, I need to deprive you, and that's okay, and so forth. So it's not that there's a battle taking place right now, but uh, the world is evolving, and lots of people are deeply financially and politically invested in the old three-dimensional way of doing things. So the evolution is going to happen one way or the other. We can speed up the evolution if we really embrace our mission and purpose and do our part to help expand consciousness now. Yeah, so that's my little soapbox moment.
I love that. Yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's about if we are wanting to make a change in the world, if we're wanting to expand consciousness, etc., whatever your goal is to bring more love onto the planet, raise the vibration frequency of the planet, etc., then it is essential for you to embody your divine purpose and follow your mission, work on your mission through your vocation, whatever that happens to be. It's about those actions that you need to take, right? Part of it is a mindset,
Yes.
part of it is, yes, sending out light and love and all that wonderful stuff, but it's also about what are you doing in the world, right? um Joey, did you have a question for Patrick?
Um, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hi,
go ahead.
Joey.
Hey, so my intention and mission is to live through love and be authentic. And I have become totally self-aware. But my children, who are adults and they're healthy and in healthy relationships and functioning parts of society, and everything that I prayed for them to become
Mhm.
have become, but they don't understand my way of thinking, and they've questioned, well, so what, you don't think there's free will? And they're questioning, because I have grown and I am evolving and I am transforming. um and I want them to join me.
Mhm.
But right now they are still so invested in the 3D way of thinking,
Mhm.
and they're not receiving, well, I'm not pushing what I believe on anyone. Anyone can believe what they believe, but I want them to be with me,
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
it's it's frustrating for me that they're not receiving or understanding my evolution.
Yeah. So two things here that are very important to bear in mind. That first of all, it's really important to allow other people to evolve on their own timeline. If you try to speed up their timeline and they're not quite ready for whatever lessons are coming their way, you can actually slow things down. Sometimes people really need to have an experience of the three-dimensional world and the struggle to survive and the ego-driven experience and so forth. That's the pathway that I was on. Before I started doing Lightbridge, I was in the restaurant industry, and every decision I made was ego-driven. I had to work at the most prestigious restaurant. I had to work with celebrity chefs. I had to attract the most famous celebrities coming into the restaurant and so forth. That's what fed me, but uh, it wasn't fulfilling. I needed to have that experience of emptiness and disappointment and frustration going down that ego driven path in order to understand that the ego driven path wasn't working for me. So people need to evolve on their own timeline.
Oh.
The other thing is that when you go into your higher dimensional state of being, so if you're deep in meditation and you're floating out there on the astral plane, or you go through your portal into expanded consciousness, they are there with you on some level. So even though you're not connecting with them in the physical three-dimensional world, in that higher dimensional way, when you go into higher dimensionality, you have access to that dimension of their being. So you
And
could
maybe a
commune
little
with
bit
them
of
where?
influence.
Well, influence is nice, but it shouldn't, like I said, you still need to allow people to evolve on their
Right.
own
I
timeline.
am,
Yeah.
and I never, say you have to believe what I believe. But from being on the outside looking in, I can just see how it would be much easier for them.
It would be. But just from my own experience, if I had not had that 10-year period of being purely ego driven, Lightbridge would not exist. I would not have gone down this pathway. I would
Right.
have done something completely different. So, so even though it looks like somebody might be stuck in their evolution for a while, that stuckness might be exactly what they need in order to springboard them forward later.
Okay.
And I know it can be frustrating to have that
Right.
disconnection and so forth. That's why I'm saying explore the higher dimensional realms more, because you will encounter them there and you will have communion with them on that level.
Okay.
And
And
it,
if I can just add really quickly too, Joey, I have kids as well, right? And so they're adults, and so I totally get it. But I also recognize them as their own souls having their own journey. And
Okay.
so whatever they are experiencing, I mean, luckily everything is great, thank God, knock on wood. But it's their journey, it's their path,
Right.
it's their exploration of consciousness for themselves. It's going
Right.
to be different for each person, right? And I would not want somebody to force me to be in a certain way, or think certain way, or look at, or even like if I'm not ready, and somebody mentions something, even if they're not forcing, it feels like forced, right?
yeah.
Like a
Right.
judgment, right?
Well,
So
they ask
instead,
me questions and ask me what I believe, and I tell them, and they think I'm
only give them a
crazy.
little bit. Give them a little bit. Don't bombard them. Don't give them like a fire hose of information. Just give them a little bit, and then
Yeah.
if they want more, they can come to you for more.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents about that, because
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think this is a really important topic. I'm so glad you brought this up for most of the people in the group today, because almost every single person in the group has been negatively influenced by um, traditional dogmatic religious
Right.
systems.
Right.
And the spiritual pathway that we're on, it's about expansiveness, and everyone's growing. We're all growing in the same direction, and yet we're all going off in different directions. So we're all growing towards the same unified experience of pinnacle consciousness, or Buddha mind, or Christ consciousness, or whatever you want to call it. But there are countless pathways to that experience of growth. But most of us carry the trauma of having been told, my way is the only way, and if you do anything different, you're going to burn in hell for all eternity. And that's traumatic. And there's a lot of there might be some pushback or resistance because of that trauma as well. Yeah.
so, and it's like allowing them to have their journey and path, because they'll get there eventually. It
Right.
may not be in the same timeline as you, but they'll get there eventually. Everybody
Right.
will, right?
And I have to look,
So
I'm 55 years old, and I didn't start until, a few years ago. So, but
exactly, yeah, exactly,
and
yeah.
I'm learning to forgive myself for not knowing what I didn't know for so long. And how did I not know?
And just have compassion for your younger self,
Yeah.
but also have compassion for them, that they also may not know, and that's
Right.
okay.
Right.
They'll know, but when it's the right time for them, they'll know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's okay, it's all
I
good.
love what Gail wrote. It said, "We're all considered crazy by a lot of family and friends. Welcome to my world." So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
but that's the thing,
I don't even
and
talk to people until they ask me something. Like, I don't
yeah,
say anything about anything I believe in until they ask me something, even then, teeny weeny bit, to see if there's any interest at all. And
mhm,
if not, then I just leave it. And then we talk about other stuff. So it's all good.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Joey. Great question.
Okay.
Thanks.
Elin, I think, has a question as well. Hopefully I'm saying your name properly, Elin.
Yes, it's Ellen. Thank you
Oh,
for taking
Ellen.
my
Sorry.
call.
Yeah.
Hi, Ellen.
Hello. Nice to see you again. Yeah, so I just have a follow-up question for that, because I also felt what she was sharing, like with my daughter. She gets really like, she's so sensitive if I just try to tell her anything in terms of, guiding her and what hits me is, oh yeah, I get this, the sadness, because I get really sad, like it hits me. So I'm just wondering, what is it within me that I haven't maybe, released, or what's kind of blocking me, because I feel really, it hurts. It really hurts when she gets so angry and yells at me for nothing. And
Yeah.
yeah.
So there is, from what I'm sensing, well, first of all, she's carrying some trauma, and her trauma has allowed her to become reactive over time. So whenever you give her advice, no matter how loving it is, no matter how it comes from the heart and it's well meant, what she hears is criticism. So she has the level of reactivity where she's been criticized or ridiculed, not necessarily by you in the past, but, and it could be past life as well, but it's so extreme that anytime somebody gives her advice, it sounds like it gets translated into, you're doing it wrong. What's wrong with you? This is what you should be doing, and so forth. So it feels like criticism. And there are ways that can be broken down. Clearly, there is some healing to be done in you as well, because somehow you've attracted that relationship in your
Yeah.
life. So you may have actually a similar form of trauma, of being criticized harshly, or of having somebody trying to dominate you and tell you what to do and how to live your life and what to think and what to believe and so forth. Um, yeah. So how to navigate that? That's a difficult question. Um, I wonder if there are strategies that we can come up with that would allow you to express your opinions about how the world works without her being triggered into feeling like she's being criticized. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really tense, and
Yeah.
I feel the hurt there, and I'm
Well,
just unsure on how to,
it
take it
is, and
further and release it, or whatever,
yeah,
I can do
and
for.
and I'm sure you also have the feeling that um, interacting with her is a minefield, and you have to walk on
Yeah.
eggshells, and you never know when you're going to say the wrong thing, and something's going to blow up in your face, and so I can like relay to her through you a wave of energy that will help her come into more self-awareness about those reactions. But essentially it's hard to change third parties without their involvement, their informed consent and so forth. So what I can do is relay a message to her higher self through you that what's happening right now isn't working, and maybe her higher self can allow that energy to go where it needs to go for healing. So do that for you and for everyone else. I'm sure everyone in the group has a fraught relationship where you feel like you have to walk on eggshells, and anything you say can be turned against you at any point. You'd never know what it's going to be. So we'll just relay energy to whoever that third party is for everyone. Okay, so this is essentially an energy of self-awareness. Okay. Yeah. And I see those energies a lot in my own family. I've got a couple of siblings that are in the same situation where you can't ever give them advice because it creates an explosion of some sort. So I know this well. Yeah. Well, hopefully that energy is soothing for you and for them. Let
Yeah.
Send me an
Thank
email
you, Ellen.
message.
That
Let me
was,
know.
and that is,
Yeah,
it's a
thank
very
you.
common issue or problem, I guess you could say as well, unfortunately, just based on how we've all been raised. And sometimes teenagers, young adults especially, they think they know everything better than anybody else. That is the truth of it. And so,
We are
you
stupid and
know,
they are so smart.
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So it's for me, it's just like a period of time, and then eventually they start to calm down and are willing to listen to your suggestions, etc. But sometimes during that period, it can be a little bit difficult and challenging. So it's about having compassion for you and having compassion for them. They're also trying to navigate and figure out who they are as well, right?
Yeah, it's a combination.
Yeah.
Yeah, be patient. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. All right. We're gonna take two more quick questions. Anita, go ahead. You want to unmute? Because I want to finish the conversation about the divine mission and purpose as well. I'm not sure if we're done. Go ahead, Anita. And Ellen, there's some wonderful comments in the chat for you as well around this whole subject. Okay, Anita is having issues, so we're going to go to
Okay.
Annette. Oh,
Okay.
let's see.
I
Okay,
got it. I got it.
yeah.
Uh,
Okay, go ahead.
okay. Well, with yesterday's call with you, Shefali, you had mentioned that I was shackled, and it always seems that I can't move forward with what I feel is my mission or my vocation. And I was just wondering if maybe you could do a little cord cutting for me.
I can work on that. Yeah, because Shefali is absolutely right. You are shackled, and these shackles go way back. Um, you There's an energetic. Let me see if I can read this properly. You have been treated as property in previous lifetimes, and there's still the vestiges of you not being your own person, you belonging to somebody else, and therefore you being subject to the whims of other people. Now, consciously, you know that that's not the case, and you want to live your life on your terms and make your own decisions and do what you need to do in this lifetime to move forward. But that feeling of being stuck in the mud, being stuck in cement and shackled in place, it boils down to having been property in previous lifetimes, and therefore you don't have permission. So let's do a clearing for you and for everyone else with regard to that level of permission, anywhere and everywhere in all lifetimes where you have had a desire to do something, but you were blocked from doing it because you did not have permission. You weren't allowed to, you were forbidden to, you couldn't do it without asking permission, whether it was your parents, God, your higher self, the universe, or you yourself. Let's clear that energetic pattern away. And what's happened in the past is there's trauma from the times where you actually did things without permission and you were punished as a result. So in your subconscious mind, there's the feeling that you don't have permission and the knowledge that if you do something without permission, there are severe consequences waiting for you. And that's the nature of the shackles that you have right now. There are other supporting issues as well, but that feels like the most important thing. So we're smashing those shackles in bringing in a deep awareness that you don't need permission. You don't need permission from anyone to follow your heart's desire. Okay, beautiful. Now, everyone take a deep breath and hold it for a moment and release. Okay, did that help?
Yes, I believe it did. A few years back, I was at a past life regression group session, and one of the things that came up was that I had an image of myself as a woman of color, and I was a slave.
Mhm.
So, but we never followed through on how to, resolve that. It was just because it was a session, nobody really
Yeah.
got the opportunity to individually release anything.
Yeah. So the enslavement experience is there, but it actually has played itself out on much more subtle scales as well. Like you, even if you weren't a slave, you were still property of somebody else. A
Mhm.
woman who was the property of her husband, or somebody in indentured servitude, or you had debts that needed to be paid off, and therefore you essentially belonged to somebody else until those debts were paid. So it's played itself out in many different ways. And of course, no matter how it plays itself out, the belief is you can't do anything without permission, and chances are, if you ask for permission, you won't get it. So we needed to
Right.
shatter all of that.
Should
Yeah.
I be asking myself for permission?
No, you should embrace the awareness that you don't need permission from anyone
Okay.
to follow your heart's desire.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Well, sounds great. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Patrick.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, Anita. That was great. Thank you. That was helpful for all of us as well. So thank you. All right, we're gonna go to Annette. Annette, you want to unmute?
I'm trying to.
There we
Yep.
oh
Oh, you had it, then you had it, then you lost it. Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm 68 years old now, and I finally am with a partner who I really feel comfortable with on an energetic level. And our history is funny. We met when we were 17, but we were in the same friend group and we went our separate ways. My whole life, I've been in unsuccessful relationships. What I'm addressing today is the energetic connection. We both understand frequency, vibration, and
Mhm.
energy, and that's what makes our relationship so much fun.
So what's the
Mhm.
question?
Well, it feels like I'm turning into him. I can't hold my frequency. His is stronger than mine. I don't
Okay,
know.
I think Patrick has enough for that.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's just do a strengthening of your core sense of self. Now, we um, there's a long history that you know about that you could share with us about that goes into your self-awareness as an individual and your ego and so forth. I want to bypass all of that, and I just want to get into for everyone a more solid sense of your foundation as a spark of light in the universe. This doesn't have to trigger ego. It's just an awareness that you are a spiritual being with immense power and purpose, and your thoughts matter, your beliefs matter, your pain matters, your desires matter. And when you're in relationship with somebody else, your pain and your desires are every bit as important as theirs are. So it could be that there's a desire to dissolve into the other person to have that sense of communion, because that would be the higher dimensional experience. But we don't want you to disappear in that process because you are important.
Thank you for
Okay.
saying that. Oh my gosh, that's what I
Yeah.
feel like I'm losing that. Wait a second, where did I go? Uh, mm,
Where did you go?
well, I'm thinking since I moved in with him 7 years ago,
Hmm. No, you're still there. You didn't go anywhere. You just have synchronized your energy with his so thoroughly. You've entrained yourself to his energy that you've kind of lost sight of your own.
Yes, how do
And
I?
he has not entrained his energy to you.
Uh,
You've been modifying your energy to match him.
oh,
So
okay.
you haven't gone anywhere. You're still there. It's just that you're camouflaged by his energy right now.
Oh my gosh, that defines it perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Camouflaged.
Awesome. Thank you, Annette. And I think we all do that to some degree when we're in a relationship, but it's about coming back and recognizing who we are from time to time and saying, yeah, I'm also important. I'm vital. Yeah, we're in a relationship. It's a co-creation, this relationship, instead of giving yourself up to him or the relationship kind of thing. So it's just about you focusing on yourself a little bit more and your
Yeah.
energy.
Thank you, Shefali.
Yeah, thank you, Annette.
And thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna go to Cheryl and then we're gonna talk about something else. So Cheryl, you want to unmute?
Ah, thank you. Thank you for taking
Hi.
me.
Sure.
Speaking of relationships, this will just lead on into this. I just intensely feel pain in my body when I think about having another romantic relationship, but I just really want to get there. And I don't know if it's a cord cutting I need or what's really going on here so I can just heal this and get back into having a romantic relationship that I
Yeah,
desire.
the cord cutting is definitely part of it. There's an entire sequence of steps that you can take in order to disconnect from previous relationships and still honor those previous relationships. A lot of times we don't want to disconnect from previous relationships because it feels like we're insulting them or dishonoring them in some way. But if you can release or cut all those cords, especially the ones that have been kind of harpooned into your heart, and do that in such a way that you still feel like you honor that relationship, then that'll free up a lot of energy. Now, what's happening is um, you have a lot of pain in your emotional body right now, but you are somewhat disconnected from your emotional body. And when that pain wants to assert itself, if it flares up in your emotional body, you don't necessarily notice it. It gets translated and crystallized into physical form for you. So there is almost an overflow of pain on the emotional level that is crystallizing in physical form in your body. And you already know that it only flares up when you think about yourself being in a romantic relationship again. It doesn't flare up under other conditions. So you know that there is some level of control that you might have over it. Your decision might be to avoid romance altogether, but that's not the healing decision.
Right.
That just keeps it perpetuating in the background. Um, so for everyone in the group right now, if you have some type of mental or emotional pain, a wound in your emotional body or a wound in your mental body that is not healing and you feel disconnected from, and therefore it's crystallizing in physical form, let's do a
Ah,
healing for that right now. Let's bring things back to where they belong. And, it really is literally true that there is something called broken heart syndrome. You have the emotional pain of having a relationship collapse, and that emotional pain crystallizes in physical form in the physical heart as heart disease. Um, but with you, it's more like fibromyalgia. It's like this pain, this I don't know how chronic pain, like arthritis, but everywhere in your body at once. It's really interesting. So let's clear this away for everybody. Okay, and essentially what we're doing is we're pouring energy into whatever mental or emotional wound that you have that you're avoiding or ignoring. Okay. So that physical healing can happen as well. Everyone take a deep breath and hold it for a moment. And release when you're ready. Now, you have something else going on as well that we should probably talk about individually, but there is a sharp stabbing pain in the uterus. So we can probably talk about that separately as well.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Is there any way that you could just talk or you tell us more about how to actually go about doing this cord cutting? Because I don't know
Yeah.
how to do that.
Okay. It's always good to have somebody else walking you through it,
Okay.
but you can do it on your own. And you essentially want to clear away all of the hooks, cords, and attachments. The hooks, cords, and attachments include spy cameras, puppet strings, and so forth, and also just energy connections where somebody's feeding off of you. You want to let go of all unfinished business. You want to let go of all unpaid debts. And you want to let go of all unfulfilled promises and other forms of obligation that you've had with each other. And then that helps kind of energetically cleanse all of the connection points between the two of you so you can move on. And it often backfires because people do it from a place of anger, they do it from a place of pain. But if
So
you honor
basically,
the relationship,
Mhm.
yeah,
So
respect the
just
relationship.
heart-centered. So go into your heart first before you
Go
do
into the
anything.
heart. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of times people rip out cords from other people out of anger and they want to burn them up and they never want to see the person again. And there's a lot of resentment and grudge energy built into it. But when you do that, for some reason, those cords always find a way to hook themselves back in again.
Okay. So we want to do this properly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Awesome. Thank you, Cheryl. And this is going to help you and all of us to be on our path, be on our purpose, be in our mission, because we have more energy available to us as well now, right? Since we did the
Yeah.
healing and when you do the cord cutting as well. So it'll be really helpful. So that was awesome. And it's so important to remember that, when we talk about divine purpose, mission, vocation, it's a lifelong thing. It's not just like one and done. It's like, it's like checking in with yourself on a regular basis. Are you, am I on purpose? Am I following my purpose? Am I on mission, kind of thing? And just checking in and seeing where you might have a little bit gotten off or something, right? So checking in with your energy.
Yeah.
So Patrick, I'm going to just take a few minutes and talk about the packages, and then we'll come back to
Sure.
the conversation. So let me
Yeah.
just share my
Yeah, we did
screen.
kind of drift today away from the actual topic, but that's okay. I don't mind.
What happens, right? When
Yeah.
it's a live call, live questions, we're gonna
Hmm.
go wherever it's needed, right?
Yeah.
So Patrick has two packages available, so I'm going to let you go ahead and talk about them. But for each of them, a payment plan is available, and of course, if you're an inner circle member, please use your gift code. So package A includes, there's three pieces to it at least. Go ahead, Patrick.
Yes, the first thing in package A is a private one-on-one healing session with me. That's a 40-minute session in which we focus on whatever it is you want to focus on for your healing. And people find this often very, very transformational and powerful because instead of just flooding you with energy, we dig into the causes of whatever your pain is, but we try to do it in a way where you don't have to relive the original trauma. So we shift your belief systems and your biases and your expectations and so forth in order to liberate energy for something new for you. And then, in addition to that, to kind of support that, Uh, Package A includes one while you sleep remote energy healing bath. And really the way this works, it's super powerful. We choose a time when you know you're going to be asleep, or at least in bed trying to fall asleep. So typically wherever you are, I do the session at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning your time. And the energy that I transmit to you, it gets relayed to your higher self. And then your higher self distributes the energy wherever it's needed inside your body. And when you're asleep, you are wide open, you're receptive, the energy flows in deeper, and it's much more powerful. So that's why I do it while you're sleeping. So it's similar in many ways to a Reiki session, but the fact that you're asleep and hopefully dreaming when we do it really intensifies the energy flow. And then the third part is a collection of Lightbridge workshops that I think are really crucial for helping you take control of your life. One is a deep sleep workshop, so you can figure out what it is that might be blocking you from sleeping all the way through the night and waking up refreshed. The other is manifestation mastery, and then alignment with success. So, what I mean by that is harmonic, internal, energetic, charismatic alignment with the frequencies of success so that success unfolds for you organically without needing to be forced. Okay, so that's the
Awesome.
first package, and that's $111. And then the second package for $222, everything that's in the first package, you get the private Lightbridge healing session, you get the while you sleep remote energy healing bath. You also get what I call the daily blast, which is waves of healing, uplifting, and soothing energy every day for 30 days. So every day I meditate. And every day that I meditate, I have a list of people that I want to share energy with. And I use a portion of my time meditating to simply blast loving, healing energy to whoever's in that group. So that would unfold over 30 days for you. And then the workshops, the same 3 workshops as before, but 3 more workshops to help empower you further: a lucid dreaming workshop, a conscious breath workshop, and a muscle testing workshop. So you can, on your own, dig into your subconscious mind and see what your limiting beliefs are. And that package is $222.
No, and they also
Now,
get a
yep,
choice of
yeah,
one
there's
of your audio package.
yeah, one massive bonus that I can hardly believe I included. I do have some very, very powerful audio packages, 5 of them. They all have the word harmonics in the title. I have starseed harmonics, wealth harmonics, power harmonics, intuition harmonics, and sex harmonics. And you get to choose one of those to have access to. And these are super powerful. Usually that's when I've been on the show before, usually one of these has been option A. But
Yeah,
now I just want to make it a bonus. So
exactly. Awesome. So that's package B, and package B is 222. There's some wonderful testimonials from people who have worked with Patrick in the past. And again, these 2 packages, A and B, take a look at them, see which one resonates with you. For those of you who worked with Patrick today, live one-on-one, you might want to consider one of these 2 packages to go deeper with him and work more deeply in your issue, whatever the issue was. Right. So thank you so much, Patrick. That's awesome. Great
thank you.
packages, actually. So please do take advantage of these. All right. So now let's see where we were. Was there anything that we missed talking about when it comes
Oh, there are a
to?
whole number of things that we glossed over. um, yeah, we could
I'm
talk
I'm
just
I'm
for a
looking to
minute.
see if there's anything there that was really pressing. But I mean, we talked about a lot of the stuff, generally. So thank
Mhm.
goodness we didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, go
Let
ahead.
me just really quickly, if you are really interested in determining what your vocation could be. You know, like I said before, you have your purpose, which is for you, your mission, what you do for others, your vocation, how you go about doing it. There are four things that you want to kind of draw together harmoniously. You need to ask yourself, what feeds you? You know, what is it that would bring you fulfillment if you were to dive into it? And I know for Shefali, doing what you're doing right now, hosting the show, that feeds you. That really
Yeah.
brings you a lot of fulfillment. The second thing is ask yourself what you're good at. And once again, with Shefali here, she's good at this. So she's in alignment with this vocation. The third is looking at the world around you. What is needed? You know, what do people need in order to uplift themselves? And of course, Shefali's show is definitely needed. And then the fourth question is, what would people possibly pay you for? What could generate income for you? And this generates income. So you don't have to have your vocation be something like building a business like Lightbridge or hosting your own show, which is now in 38 seasons like Shefali. But you know, when all these four things come together harmoniously, you're onto something that's really good. So you might want to think about those as you're trying to figure out what activity you would do in life. Yeah, and
I
then
love that.
yeah, and we're kind of running out of time, but there's one thing that I think is really important to talk about very briefly here. And that is that when I try to identify or help people identify their purpose, I usually want them to think about it in terms of a state of being. And the mission is a state of doing. The reason I think this is important is um, if I were to choose a purpose that is something that I would do, for example, my purpose is to heal people in pain. My purpose is to transform chaos into order. Those are perfectly fine purposes, but you have to realize that if your purpose is to create order out of chaos, then chaos is extremely important in order for you to get the fulfillment of doing your purpose. So you may have, if you have as your sense of purpose in the world, creating order out of chaos, you need to realize that you might actually be attracting chaos and drama into your life in order to have something to work with. So and that's a phase that a lot of people go through, and I think it's a good phase to go through. But ultimately, I think we're all growing into some sort of state of being where you can just be the energy of peace. And you being the energy of peace is enough to impact the people around you. You don't have to take action to bring order out of chaos. You radiating the energy of order does that automatically without you needing to take action. So I could go on and on about that, but I think it's very important to realize that sometimes if you take your purpose uh, seriously and feel like your job is to transform something, the thing that needs to be transformed becomes very important. Otherwise, your life feels meaningless. So, yeah, we want to
Yeah,
essentially
that
transcend
was
that purpose.
yeah, that is so powerful too, that you stated it like that, because it's like, ah, I'm looking at that for myself, and I'm like, so in order for me to feel fulfilled, I mean, like as a healer, as a coach, then I need to have people who are doing well, which I don't like. So that,
Yeah,
just that feeling of, it's like, oh, because if you're a healer, coach, helper in some way, support people in some way, then you need people who are not feeling supported.
Mhm.
or who need healing, etc., to fulfill you. So I need to change that a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah. So, a lot of people that I've connected with over the years have been driven to fix things. People are fixers.
Yeah.
And if you're a fixer, if there's nothing in your environment that's broken, then you have nothing to do and life becomes boring.
Yeah.
So it's okay to be a fixer, but after a while, you want to grow out of that and simply be an energy of order that other people can tap into.
Yeah. So like I could be just an energy of safety or empowerment. Safety
Yeah.
meaning safe space, like holding space, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
um no fixing really needed, but holding space so people can transform on their own,
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Something to look at for sure. That was so
Yeah.
important. I'm glad I'm glad you shared that, because it's so important to see where we're coming from, right? Like, what is our mindset? Where are we? Where's the starting point? What do we need to feel fulfilled? And if we have a need like that, then there's always going to be drama. Then there's always going to be some sort of trauma in our lives if we're the fixer kind of thing, right? There's always something to fix. And so we need to sometimes change our identity, I think,
Yeah.
for that to
Okay.
change, right?
Mhm. Yes.
Make sense?
Yes. Makes perfect sense. Thank you so much.
Ah, yeah, that was great. So any last words of wisdom for us around more about how we can begin to embody our mission and purpose, and yeah,
Yeah.
mission and purpose.
So embodiment is a very important word here. And I think it's very important for you to realize that you have immense power inside you. Now, I noticed in the comments off to the side here that some people are asking questions about what I would call external approaches, like glyphs and so forth. I am an internalist. So I
Mm,
believe that there is immense power in using external tools in order to shift your energy. But I also believe that you have the power to shift your energy from within. So for me, embodiment involves shifting your internal energetic symphony, your whatever you radiate energetically out to the world, shifting that into a collection of frequencies that attracts to you whatever you're interested in attracting. So it's an
mm,
internal process for me. External things can help out to be sure, because it can help shift energy and move things and so forth and bring focus. Um, but in order for you to really embody the energy of your desires, you need to be internally aligned with those desires. And that can be, an easy process or it could be a lot of work. So, yeah.
So your packages can help beginning in the external, but then they will shift to the internal changes.
Yeah. The approach that I take is to shift your internal energy so that they are in alignment with it, whatever your desire is, so that your desire will organically emerge for you.
Mm,
And to bring you into alignment, we need to clear away belief systems and experiences and so forth that say that your desire is impossible for you, or you're not good enough for it, you're not worthy of it, you don't have permission to have it, it's forbidden for you, it's dangerous for you to have, it's out of alignment with who you are, it doesn't define you, or having pain defines you and your experience in the world. And these are all internal
mm,
perspectives and mindsets that can be shifted and cleared.
mm. Awesome. Thank you. So this was such a wonderful conversation, and the processes that Patrick shared with us and facilitated have already started to change that internal world for us. Right. And
Yeah.
of course, if you'd like to work more deeply with Patrick, please check out packages A or B, whichever one resonates. But I do highly recommend working with him so that you can go deeper into your purpose, your mission, etc. But even sometimes something else that may need to be more pressing first, for you to take care of, so that you have more energy to then work on your purpose and mission, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I will have the recordings out in a little while, but go back and watch and listen. And like I said, of course, please do work with Patrick if you can. Both of the packages are amazing. And there are payment plans available for both as well. So thank you everybody for all your questions and comments and feedback in the chat. I was watching, and it's beautiful supporting each other. So that is so wonderful. That's so nice to see. And of course, Patrick, it's always so wonderful to have you here. So thank you for coming back on the show. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Much love and light to all of you.
Thank you so much. All right, everyone. We'll be back not tomorrow, but we'll be back on Thursday. Okay. So until next time, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all so much love and blessings. Bye for now. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.